Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, this is like take 5, so I'm just going to roll with it. So I took a couple weeks off, and I had some things I had to do. I had to get some things accomplished, clear my head, but now we're back on track with finishing up the bench, and it's time to get to it. I have a long weekend, right? So this is day 2 of a 4-day weekend I've got. I don't know how I pulled that one off, but it's here, and we're gonna make some make good with it. So the bench right now sits. Yes, we're still flattening the top. I didn't like skip forward and forget to video anything like that. I have been doing a lot of work on the bench, just here and there, but I've gotten it to a point where both the front and the back halves are flat, they're level, twist, about 95%, right? There's still a few peaks and valleys, if you will, and you know what my version of peaks and valleys are, a few thousands here and there. But the one thing that I'm working on right now is getting those two to talk to one another, because one's higher than the other. The rear half is still taller than the front half. So, the front is still taller than the back. So we got to get those two to talk to one another. I haven't really broke this plane out a lot. This is my number 6. I did clean it up for the most part. There's a little spot right here, a little spot up here, but I did clean it up for the most part and sharpen her up and get her all good working order. And so that's the one I'm working with right now, and it's worked better. It's kind of like what tool I want to use to do the job. Right? I don't want to use my 8 right yet because it's too heavy to work with all day, and you don't need it for what we're doing right now. The 4 is, in my opinion, a little too short for my taste. And plus, I need to sharpen it. The number 5 is just too skinny, in my opinion. So I'll show you how I'm doing that. Right now, I've gotten actually the first third of this bench is all parallel to one another. It is they're all at the same level, and it's good to go. So I just got to do the other 2/3. I did want to say real quick, and I'm not going to dive into this too much, but I wanted to say thanks to all the subscribers out there. I've learned a lot from you guys, and your inspiration in the comments, and from all the other YouTubers out there. There are a few following me, and you're an inspiration too. I have watched a ton and learned a ton from all types, all walks of life. In the realms of not only woodworking, but spoon carving or leather work, blacksmithing. These are all things that I'm working on building my knowledge and my honing the craft, so to speak. We're all amateurs, really. But to all the subscribers and all the other YouTubers out there that I've been communicating with, thanks. You guys are the bee's knees. I did want to talk about one other thing, kind of kind of see if there's anybody, if there's anybody out there that watches this video that is local. I'd like to, meet up with you, see if we can learn from one another or whatever. Just things like, maybe techniques or whatever, or hey, how do you find your wood? I'd love to just walk out and chop down trees, but around here everything is either owned by the government. Well, I guess it's everywhere really. Everything's owned by the government or somebody else. So unless I get lucky and find somebody, find the city like trimming trees for road work or something like that, I'm kind of shit out of luck, really. I've gotten a few good hits on Craigslist, but a lot of times I don't want to drive for 2 hours to go pick up a piece of. I don't know if it's a log. What exact species is it? Is it worth my time, worth my gas, worth everything like that to drive an hour or two to pick up a couple of 10-foot logs? My luck, it'll be all rotted out or something like that. So how you find your, and you don't have to be local, but how do you find your trees, your lumber? I'm getting sick and tired, frankly, of forking out a ton of money. In retirement, I'll live on land. I'll have enough land where I can mill my own lumber from the trees on my property. But where I'm renting now, I'm renting. I can't just start chopping trees down, right? And start milling it all up. But I see, there's trees growing all around us. I just feel it's it's a shame that we live in a world where we have to go to a lumber yard or a hardwood dealer and pay enormous prices, outrageous prices, for something that's growing right out in it's growing all around us. So I'm trying to find other ways to source my lumber, source my wood that I'm building with. Even construction lumber is expensive relatively when you think of, hey, everything that all the wood that I used to build this bench, I could have harvested from one large Doug fir. I got some pretty big Doug firs right out here. If I could take them down, I would have harvested them and made it, from ground to bench, mill it all up myself and everything, chop the tree down, and that's what I want to do. But I don't have that luxury yet. So if you have any ideas of how you source your wood, I already drive around. Usually one morning on the weekend, I'll go for a drive in the Jeep and just try to find wood or find some freshly downed trees. I haven't had a whole lot of luck, but I keep trying, and I keep looking on Craigslist and stuff like that. But if you know of better ways or a different way that works for you, hook a brother up. Let me know. If you're local, like I said, though, I would like to, possibly meet you. See how you do things, whatnot. Just shoot me a comment or whatever, and I'll give you my information. I'll probably end up just attaching my email down in the link below. I live in. It might help if I tell you where I live. Well, I live in Belfair, which is on the western side of the Sound, on the other side of the Sound from Seattle. So if you live anywhere out there, anywhere out in this direction, hit me up. Maybe we can get together and learn from one another. Anyway, so let's get to the bench. So what I was talking about, I think in my last video, You know, right now I'm just using my 4-foot level. There's no reason to get my 8-footer out for this, but like I said, this first third is already done, and you know, sometimes it might look like this, and this is exaggerated, but if I've got the boards like that and I'm running across the top, well, which one of those is level, right? So if I find out by basically running, right, so I'll get one side where the level is only on one side. It's not touching this other half. And I'll get it just like that, and I'll find out where the bubble sits on the level, right? Now that's perfect, and well, that's perfect too. But that's only, I mean, I already know that this whole section is perfect. It's flat. There's no, you know, I can run my rule across and it won't run into either side. And what I mean by that is, that's kind of my judge, right? I take my square and I run it across. Now if I catch it, I'm like, I should, if anything, I should feel like just a hair of resistance, but it shouldn't catch it as it runs into, right? And then I'll do the same thing from this side. I mean, I just run to it and I'll feel a little bit of friction, but nothing major. That's my kind of like my final test, and I'll do that all down the bench from both sides when I'm ready to call it good to go. But once they're good and they're both level with one another, are getting really close to being level with one another, you just kind of sight down. You sight underneath the level, and you know, and you can see where the light is, right? So, say this side was sitting kind of like this, and you know, you'd see it. Well, what if the other side's the same way, right? Well, which side is which side is level, right? And that's what you want to. So if this side was level, then you got to find out how this corresponding side is matching up to that. So, or maybe this side is flat and this side's sitting like that. So now you know because you're going to put it across, and it's going to be touching in various different places. But you can't just take it down in the high spot like that, because then you might end up completely off level. So, and your bench will be about an inch tall, or the thickness of your bench after you work all that wood down. So just be careful. I'm trying to point out that use your brain as you're leveling your bench, because you can't just kind of go for the high spots in this part. You also have to make sure that you're paying attention to the level, the actual bubble in the level, and making sure that it's exactly where you want it, and that you're touching on both sides, so and that you're not just kind of leaning. You know, if you have your weight needs to be in the middle so that it's touching both sides and not just kind of registering off of this and not really on this, and you think you're level but you're not, that type of thing. So right now, like I said, this first third is done. So now I just need to register. Just everything I just said, kind of putting it into motion, really. So I'll throw it across, just kind of get a gauge of what I'm looking at first. Right, so it's pretty flat across the top right here, and there's a gap here, and it's touching on this other end over here. So I want to pull it off. Press down here in the middle. I know there's no. This top is flat. There's no crown or cupping or anything like that happening, and I am spot on. If anything, I'm very, very close, but I could stand to take a little bit of meat off of this side. So it's sitting a little bit like this on this side. And then this side, it's going to be just the opposite. Right? So what I need to do is take a little bit more off of this section. And then the same thing back here. Well, you'll see. This is so much easier when you're not filming it, by the way. So I already know that this side is taller throughout the rest of the bench, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work on this right here. And I'll just go tangentially really to start out with, to kind of clean up the area, and we'll go from there. And as you can hear, it's skipping because I was doing a lot of other planing and working everything on the bench, so. But it's not far off. It's already starting to take full shavings. Just a couple light passes. Bring it down here, maybe you can see it better. I don't know, maybe you can, maybe you can't. I'm just working on a few certain spots at a time. I'm not trying to do the whole bench. Right. Now once I get that, I still need to take a shaving this way. Because as I get closer and closer, I have to make sure that, because my final strokes are going to be in this direction with the grain, and so I don't want to be going tangentially and, oh sweet, now I'm flat, but it's not my final. Everything is good and right, but it's not. It's still got the rough plane marks and stuff like that. So it's going to take. That's another thing I love about my number 6 is it has a really tall front knob. So. So when I go tangentially, I'm making sure that it's parallel to one another, and then I smooth it out with these with the grain cuts. So I'll stop right there. And it gets kind of annoying at this point, because you got to continuously clean off chips because you're continuously measuring and verifying that everything is good and all that stuff, seeing where you're at and whatnot. All right. So we could stand to come up a little bit on the rear. That is right where I want it to be, so still need to take more off on that side. Let's see how it registers against itself. That's about as perfect as you can get, really. But I'm still... Now it would catch there if it was the same, or if it was lower, it would catch there, but it's not. So how far off am I? Right there, I'm about I'd say an 1/8 inch, a little less than an 1/8 inch. Maybe 3/32, something like that. As I get further back, there you go, I'm right there. So I know exactly, I need to, you can't see it, but right, keep my finger there. Right there, that's where it starts, from where barely on to where I'm missing the bench. So where I'm good to where I'm totally missing it. And you could tell that too by kind of moving it along, and you'll know where it catches. So we'll mark that. Just that little bit of friction right there. So that's my mark, not to go beyond that. And that's where I'm checking against. And I'm going to mark it heavy along the entire length of the half on this side, so that I know not to take material from beyond that line on that side of this line. So right now, and you can't just really check in one spot, because right here I know I'm high. Trying to do everything like backwards. All right, so just a little bit high right there, and I'll mark my little 2. I know I kind of went over this with you guys once, but put a 2 mark there. Means I got to take off about that heaviness of a cut, that heavy of a cut. We actually have a slight rock right in the middle right here. So I've got to take, that came from going with the grain, I'm guaranteeing. So right here, just a little high, so it gets a 1. I'm doing this about every 4 inches, I guess. And that's right on the money, right there. So when I'm right on the money, I score an even line. Tells me it's even. I do a double line back here not to go past it, and then wherever I'm high, that's where. So I'm trying to get it perfectly even everywhere along the bench. That's so close. I'll give it a 1 right there. Same there. And it's really just finding out where does it start to get better or worse. And the difference between these really is so small. Right, so for this, that's when I can break out. I can go with my number 6, and I think I will for this one. But if you have real small, minute places that you want to take it off, sometimes the fork comes in handy. So we don't want to take off too much, obviously this is a plane, so it's going to register. As long as I'm registering off of that back face, and the front's not, it's going to take down the high spot. That's kind of its job, but you don't want to dig in on accident and take off more than you want. So I'm taking off kind of more. I'm taking off like more here where the 2s are, and then less where the 1s are, and then more back here where the 2s are. But I'll just kind of work it this way. And just kind of feather it in. Now we're pretty high over here, so in this second section, so I can take it and go transversely. You can tell it's not even wanting to take any material off here, so it's just a matter of taking it off at its first half. It's high. And it feels good and flush. So once we get there, we're still not going to be anywhere near where we need to be. But we'll at least know how we sit regarding the levelness. Yeah, it's skipping. So now we can go ahead and take all the way across. Kind of a cleanup cut, if you will. You just got to do it slowly and measure a lot because you don't want to go past where you're like planing a lot more than you need to be on the other side. There's still going to be a little bit of planing on this side, but not anything major. So just check it. Alright, so that's looking really good. Well, it's gone the other way, sort of. I need to take a high spot out that's right here. It's kind of high. Alright, so it's that one spot right where I was taking a little bit more off here and then kind of feathering it in. It created a hill right here. So now when I try to do my level, it's kind of getting a registration here, and then it'll get a registration here. So it's like I'm kind of chasing my tail. And I just need to take that out. Now, a lot of times when you're doing this, and that's to get those hills and valleys out. That's why we were going tangentially. So let's see how well that worked out for us. Just a little bit left. A lot more right there. I didn't go all the way or something. So I'm going to back this iron off just a hair. I'm really just kind of talking as I'm working here. I don't want to. Just kind of walking through how I do things. Is it right? I don't know. Makes sense to me, and that's all that matters. I got a high spot right on the very end of that, at the transition between the first third and the second third. So I gotta address that, but I took all that out. So now I just gotta hit this one little spot. I can see it because it grabs it right there, but that's the only spot it grabs, so that's a good thing. That's a good sign. I'm identifying the one spot that's high and taking it away. But one thing that I have learned using these long planes is on something this long, they're great, give you a good reference, but don't rely solely on your planes. You still need to go back and measure everything and all that. Like, oh, I went over it with my number 8 plane. It's got to be perfect, right? No. It's just one little spot. And this is the tedious part. Right, it's right there and not right there. So it's like literally one little high spot right there. And right when I do that, I'm not pushing down or anything. I'm I'm simply writing it. I can like do it with my fingertips. Just making sure that it's not going to catch. In fact, it's a little bit, you know, when you start to put too much pressure on there, that's when it's going to dig, and it's going to take material off where you don't want it to be taken off. Now on this one, every so often, you have to, you know, I'll check this, and I'm sure it's probably good now. Perfect. So we're good here. Check the level. Oh, that is beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, so we're not rocking. We're flat. And we are perfectly level. I mean, I don't know if I can hang off that far, but bam. Even that's not really giving you. Right, so that's perfect right there. No, we still need to give it a sanity check. Make sure we haven't gone too far. And we haven't. We still got about a 1/16 to go. So all that material just took us down to where we don't have quite as far to go. But now that I know that this is perfectly level and it's above this, it's above this section of the bench. Right now I can see, and you could probably see too, that we're a little bit closer here on the end than we are over here. Just a little bit closer. Now we've still got a long way to go. Vice. You got that difference there. And just that there. So we're going to end up having to take a little bit more off of this section right up in here, and just to make it flat as we bring this down. And it worked out beautiful. It doesn't. It's not as much as you would think. Just a couple passes with the plane on this side, tangentially mostly, and then a couple with the grain, and then this is just bringing it down now that we're flat. It's a matter of bringing it down evenly, nice and slow. So yeah, so that's that. Sorry if that was all junked up, and it is a long video obviously, but it is what it is. If you like what I'm doing, if you're digging what I'm doing, give me a thumbs up. If you learned anything here, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm just thinking out loud and passing on how I do things. So hopefully there's a kid out there or a grown man that learns something. I don't know. And if you can teach me something, by all means, leave me a comment. Give me a thumbs up or down or whatever. Let me know if you like the videos or whatever. Subscribe, do whatever. Until next time, I'll see you later.